Alright gamers, today we are playing the best starter from the best region with the best protagonist. That's right, it's Ethan's Typhlosion. This 60 card list that you see before you was pouted by Yasmin Kiss to get 27th place at the Turn Special Event, and by Teja Gumadi to get 71st place at NAIC. These are both very impressive placements, especially for a deck that most people wouldn't really consider meta, so let's talk about why this is performing. Obviously, our deck revolves around Ethan's Typhlosion. Buddy Blast does 40 damage plus 60 more for each Ethan's Adventure in the discard, capping out at a solid 280. Luckily for us, Ethan's Adventure is also a card we really don't mind playing 4 copies of, because when it's played, it gets up to 3 between any Ethan's Pokemon and Fire Energy from the deck to the hand. That's a very powerful searching effect, made even more powerful because Ethan's Quilava tutors it straight from the deck. You can see now how it becomes very easy to get Ethan's Adventures into circulation, and even in the discard, thanks to cards like Ultra Ball or Secret Box to discard them right away. Even if we have an Ethan's Adventure stuck in the prize cards, we have Redeemable Ticket to get it out of there and eventually into our discard pile. Dreepy Drakloak and Fezandipiti are just very powerful draw cards, someone should make a video about these guys. Also, Shaymin and Psyduck feel pretty terrible to play both as bench sitters, but we kind of need them to prevent us from auto-losing certain matchups. Lastly, 1 copy of Victini increases the damage of our Evolution Fire Pokemon by 10. This is a very specific boost, but it ends up mattering quite a lot. Ethan's Typhlosion normally caps out at 280. Victini makes that 290. Add in a Brave Bangle, and that becomes 320, one-shotting a Dragapult EX. If we play Gravity Mountain, the HP of a Dragapult EX becomes 290, once again meaning we can one-shot it very easily. All of the good single prize decks right now have a way to hit that 320 number to ohko Dragapults. Typhlosion has that too, so theoretically it's also a pretty good single prize deck. There are only 3 other cards that I really want to talk about here. Secret Box is our ace spec of choice. I think this is non-negotiable. Not only does it discard our Ethan's Adventures, but it also just gets us anything we need. For the most part, the turn you play Secret Box is going to be a turn that you take a knockout because it just sets everything up. Victini we already touched on. This is a 1-up, but we could bump it up to 2. Mega Lopunny, for example, has 330 HP. It's unaffected by Gravity Mountain. Brave Bangle plus Victini is only taking 320 and they'll just heal up with Wallies and take a return KO. That's really rough. This deck did very well in events in which Lopunny really just wasn't present. If you think you're going to fight against Mega Lopunny or something along those lines, definitely consider another Victini. So Kieran is a card that we only play at 1, but it's kind of a panic button here. It does 2 things. First off, it increases our damage up by 30 against Pokemon EX, which could matter. Again, if we're missing other boosts, this is our panic button. Or if we're trapped in retreat lock, or our opponent gutted up a Pokemon and we don't have the energy to retreat it, Kieran gets us out of that too. Once again, panic button. Anyway, if you enjoy these types of videos, please subscribe. Only about 3% of my viewers are subscribed, and it would be very lovely if we could bring that up. But in any case, I am very grateful for the support we've gotten recently. If there's any other decks you want to see me try out, let me know. But let's get into the games. So for our first match, we are up against some kind of Mega Kangaskhan thingy. I don't know if it's necessarily good, but I have run into it a couple of times on the ladder, so I figure I'd include a game here. Anyway, we're going first. We lead Cyndaquil while our opponent leads Fezandipiti. Already a good start for us. We'll go for the Buddy-Buddy Poffin first of all. We can get our second Cyndaquil and a second Dreepy. We'll play our first Dreepy down from the hand, and then finally our Fire Energy will go right onto our bench Cyndaquil, and that's it for our turn. So over to our opponent, who will draw. They'll start things off with an Ultra Ball here. They'll discard the Boss's Orders and the Transformation Tome to get a hold of Mega Audino EX. Okay, they'll bench the Audino, they'll put a Fire Energy right onto it. Turbo Energize rotated, so this is what we have to work with, huh? Poké Pad gets them to a Bouffalant. They'll bench the first Bouffalant, they'll bench the second Bouffalant, and wouldn't you know it, the last card in their hand is Judge. I'll shuffle my hand back and draw 4, and that hand is honestly crazy, and our opponent just passes. Okay, well, I'm feeling a lot better. We'll draw for turn, Boss's Orders does nothing yet. We'll bench Drakloak first, we'll go for the Recon, see what else we can pick up. Quilava or Lilies? We'll just take the Lilies, we'll use it next turn probably. For now, we'll go for the Ethan's Adventure, we'll get a hold of 2 Quilava and a Typhlosion. Both of our Cyndaquils will evolve right into Quilavas, and now both of our Quilavas can use Bonded by the Journey to add Ethan's Adventure from our deck to our hand. Finally, from here, we'll just attach to Quilava, attack for 40, why not? Bouffalant is actually kind of terrifying here. We do rely on taking big one-shots, and Curly Wall really stops that. But luckily, Fezandipiti does not benefit from Curly Wall, so we're at least okay on that front. Our opponent attaches the Fez and then goes for Lilies to draw 8 more cards. They'll bench Mega Absol next. They'll retreat into the Mega Audino. I don't know why you play Mega Absol in the deck built around taking hits with Carlos Pokemon, but this is very good news for us. And then the Kaleido Waltz gets 3 heads. That's very bad news for us. Well, the Absol is fully charged and the Fez gets some energy too, but it's our turn now and we draw into Cyndaquil. Okay, well let's start off with the Recon Directive, see if we can get anything else that's good. And Ultra Ball is kind of perfect. Using Ultra Ball, we can discard both of our Eden's Adventures. Now our Buddy Blast is hitting for that much more. Plus, we can search out Drakloak and bench that and get yet another Recon Directive going. This is kind of crazy. We'll start by going for Bonded by the Journey though, get the last Eden's Adventure out of the deck. Then we'll Recon, there's a Poké Pad. That's probably better than Lana's aid here, so we'll take it. We'll bench Cyndaquil, we'll evolve into Typhlosion, and now we'll throw down the boss's orders, bringing in that Fezandipiti. From here, Buddy Blast swings for a very easy one-hit KO, getting us the first 2 prize cards of the game. Anyway, our opponent promotes Absol and begins their turn. They attach an energy onto Audino before going for the Prism Tower. They'll play down Lillie's next, shuffling to draw 8. They'll Night Stretcher here for the Fezandipiti. They'll go for Mega Signal next. I guess it's just deck thinning here. They can grab Mega Kangaskhan. See, that would make more sense than Mega Absol here, but whatever. They'll bench the Fez, flip the script, draw 3 cards. Prism Tower will discard Judge and Ultra Ball to get 1 more card. Another Mega Signal is played here to get another Mega Absol. Kangaskhan hits the bench, and finally they end their turn with a Claw of Darkness. They do 200 damage, get to rip 1 card out of our hand, but honestly, if I saw this hand, I would probably surrender right now. I mean, what can you even get rid of? After some very lengthy deliberation, our opponent gets rid of the Night Stretcher. Sure, that makes sense at least. We'll bring in our Quilava though, and we'll just start our turn. Fire Energy off the top is actually pretty nice. I decided to just go for an Ethan's Adventure here. We can grab Typhlosion, Cyndaquil, and yet another Fire Energy. We'll evolve our Quilava into Typhlosion. We'll Poké Pad next to get a Quilava. Our bench Cyndaquil will evolve into Quilava. We'll bench another Cyndaquil just in case. We'll put a Fire Energy onto the Quilava, and now we'll just go for our Recon Directives. We'll pick up a Gravity Mountain, and we'll pick up a Buddy-Buddy Poffin. We'll go for the Prism Tower next. We'll get rid of our Buddy-Buddy Poffin and our own Shaymin to draw 1 card, and now we'll get rid of that Prism Tower to play Gravity Mountain. With that, we'll go for Buddy Blast. We have all 4 Eats of the discard. That means we're swinging for 280. Very easy one-hit KO. Another 3 prizes for us, and our opponent is in a very, very bad spot right now. Also, other Typhlosion off the prizes is literally perfect, so our opponent brings in Kangaskhan and starts their turn. They'll flip the script for 3. They can run Errant for 2, and there's the Scoop Up Cyclone to return the Kangaskhan to the hand and bring Audino into the active spots. From here, our opponent will play Ultra Ball. They discard Mega Signal and Mega Kangaskhan to grab a Clutch Yveltal. That could be a problem, but keep in mind we do have our Drakloak, so we can very easily just switch out if they try to retreat lock us. In any case, our opponent's not going for it. They're actually going for the Transformation Tome here. They can switch out their Mega Audino with the Kangaskhan they just put in the discard pile. The 3rd energy attaches to Kangaskhan. They'll bench Monkey Dory. They'll go for Judge for hand disruption. Bye-bye Typhlosion. I think the combo here is pretty cool, right? Like, you keep your Curly Wall up forever, because even if your opponent takes a knockout, you can just Transformation Tome it back. You can switch between like Fez and Bouffant, whatever. Like, it's cool. I just don't see why we're playing Mega Absol. I don't think it's very good here. In any case, our opponent attacks, they take out Typhlosion. This is kind of an awkward spot to be in. We'll promote Quilava and start our turn. We have an energy, all we need is Typhlosion and Boss, and we win the game. And there's Poké Pad off the top, which is crazy. So we'll Poké Pad here. We'll grab a Typhlosion from the deck, and now we'll go for our Recon Directives. Again, all we need is a Boss's Orders and we win. And there's a Secret Box. Okay, well, I guess the better player just wins, right? We'll go for our Secret Box here. We'll pitch the Brave Bangle, the Fire Energy, and the Lillie's Determination. We get our 1 copy of Boss's Orders that's still in the deck, as well as Gravity Mountain, Brave Bangle, and Night Stretcher. In any case, it doesn't matter that much. The moment we do this, our opponent scoops, so we'll take the win. Our next match is up against Hydreigon. This hand is actually really crazy, and we're going first. We lead Cyndaquil while our opponent leads Yveltal. We'll start things off by drawing into the Dreepy. We'll bench that right away. We'll put a Fire Energy onto our Cyndaquil, and I suppose we'll Secret Box now just to play around item lock a bit. We'll discard a Fire Energy in Eden's Adventure and Victini. With this, we'll grab Eden's Adventure, Buddy-Buddy Poffin, Gravity Mountain, and Brave Bangle. We'll continue with a Buddy-Buddy Poffin here. We'll get our 2nd Cyndaquil and our 2nd Dreepy from the deck. And from here, we'll just pass. Over to our opponent now, and they'll draw. They'll attach a Darkness onto the Yveltal, and they'll immediately go for the Meowth EX. That's not a great start for them, is it? Our opponent will grab the Lillies. They'll go for a Poké Pad next. They'll get a Dino, which they'll put onto the bench. And now here's Lillie's Determination, shuffling, drawing 8. Our opponent goes for Buddy-Buddy Poffin, they get a Dunsparce and a Dino, and they'll end their turn with the Clutch for 20. We'll draw, we'll get another Ethan's Adventure. That's really good. Theoretically, we should struggle into Hydreigon, but we can just go out of range by evolving into Typhlosion, and their deck sets up very, very slowly, so I think we'll be fine on that front. We'll evolve our bench Cyndaquil into Quilava. We'll go for yet another Bonded by the Journey here. We'll get our last Eden's Adventure from the deck. We can Rare Candy next, evolve our Cyndaquil into Typhlosion. We'll bench another Cyndaquil just for good measure, and now here's the Buddy Blast swinging for 160 damage. Down goes Yveltal, and off the prizes we get Shaymin. You know, sometimes you are literally just better. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, our opponent does bring in the Dunsparce here. Sure. They'll put the Metal Energy onto Dino. They'll bench a Badoo. They'll retreat right into that Badoo. And here's the Itchy Pollen item locking us. Fine. We'll draw. Poké Pad is whatever. We'll bench the Shaymin now, and that pretty much seals up the game in our favor, but we'll still keep going. We'll go for the Eden's Adventure. We'll get a Quilava, a Typhlosion, and a Fire Energy. We'll play down the Quilava. We'll play down the Typhlosion. We'll attach the other Fire Energy, and now we'll just Buddy Blast for 440 on the puny little Badoo. Getting Drakloak off the prizes, which is also quite nice. Our opponent promotes Dunsparce and begins their turn, but by now they see the writing on the wall and they concede. We'll take it. And finally, for the most important question, how is this deck into Dragapult EX? Well, here we are. We lose the coin flip this time around, we're going second, and this hand is also, I mean, I guess it's okay. I decide to lead Victini this time, while our opponent leads Badoo and starts their turn. They immediately bench 2 Dreepy, that's lovely. They'll throw out a second Badoo for some reason, and now here's the Meowth EX on the turn that they can't even play supporters anyway. There's a Lillie's Determination added to their hand, so I guess we have to worry about that next turn. But for now, this is mostly fine. We'll draw a Gravity Mountain, that doesn't do anything for us. We'll start with the Buddy-Buddy Poffin here. Let's get 2 Cyndaquil from our deck. We can bench our Dreepy as well, and now we'll just fire off the Lillies, draw 8. And those are actually pretty good. We'll go for yet another Buddy-Buddy Poffin. We'll just get our second Dreepy onto the bench. We'll throw down another Cyndaquil. We'll Poké Pad here preemptively just to get a Quilava before they can item lock us. Also, we can do a quick check here. We prized 1 copy of Ethan's Adventure. So that's not a big deal, but that does mean we'll need to use Redeemable Ticket eventually. We'll attach a Fire onto Victini, and that's about all we can do this turn. So over to our opponent, and they'll draw. They'll start off with the Lillies they got last turn. They'll draw 8 cards here. They'll bench a Duskull. Well, that's a little bit scary. They'll evolve their bench Dreepy into Drakloak. Unsurprisingly, here comes the Recon Directive. And now here's an Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball pitches Buddy-Buddy Poffin and the Dusknoir. I actually don't mind seeing Dusknoir gone, because that is very threatening right now. We don't have Psyduck in play. They'll fetch the second Drakloak. They'll evolve their Dreepy into that Drakloak as well. Here's yet another Recon Directive. They'll put an energy onto the Drakloak and end their turn with a simple Itchy Pollen. That's fine. Okay, well, it's back to us now, and we see Secret Box. That's a cool card, although we can't use it. We'll evolve Cyndaquil into Quilava. We'll go for Bonded by the Journey here. We'll grab 1 Ethan's Adventure at least. We can throw this card down as well. With this, we'll get 2 more Quilava plus a Fire Energy. We can evolve up the rest of our board here. Next, our remaining Quilavas will get us more Ethan's Adventures to hand. And I don't want to leave any of these guys in the active to get KO'd by Dragapult, so instead we'll just attach to the Victini. We'll go for a Flare, and that's one way to take an easy knockout on this Badoo. We'll take our first prize card, and we pick up the Psyduck. I won't lie, that is insanely lucky. Anyway, our opponent brings in their second Badoo and start their turn. They'll bench the third Dreepy. Good for them. Unsurprisingly, they'll go for their Recon Directives next. And the bench Drakloak evolves into a Dragapult. And they also have the Fire Energy. Okay, well that's really scary. And here's the boss's orders next. With this, they'll gust up our Quilava. Well, that's really bad news. Okay. Our opponent retreats into the Dragapult, and they'll go for the Phantom Dive here. Quilava and Victini both go down now, and our opponent takes 2 prizes. On one hand, that's terrifying, but on the other hand, we are no longer under item lock. Kieran for turn is fine. I'll start things off with a Bonded by the Journey. I know we have no more Ethan's Adventure in deck, but I just want to see what we do have. And there is the Redeemable Ticket. There's our Gravity Mountain. There's our Energy. There's our Brave Bangle. Looks pretty good. We'll go for the Secret Box. We'll pitch 2 Ethan's Adventures as well as a Dreepy. We'll grab Lillie's, Redeemable Ticket, Brave Bangle, and Gravity Mountain. We can go for a Redeemable Ticket next to put our prize cards back into the deck and get a new set of prizes. That means our Ethan's Adventure is now in the deck to be fetched off of our second Bonded by the Journey. From here, we'll just go for the Ethan's Adventure. We'll pick up Typhlosion, a Fire Energy, as well as a Cyndaquil. I think we had a Fire Energy in the prizes that we were able to pick up off of that, so that's pretty nice. From here, we'll attach onto Quilava, we'll evolve into Typhlosion, we'll bench Cyndaquil as well. Finally, we'll bench Psyduck to prevent that Dusknoir from ruining our life. We'll play down the Gravity Mountain, we'll attach the Brave Bangle, and with this, we're swinging for 310 damage into our 290 HP Dragapults. That's a very nice 1-hit KO, getting us another 2 prize cards, and Poké Pad and Fire Energy are pretty good. More importantly here, notice how our opponent has 0 energy on their board. They're going to need to get a lot to actually set up from here, so I feel a lot better. They'll start off with a Poké Pad though. They do get yet another Drakloak. They'll throw that down as well. They'll attach a Fire onto the Drakloak. They'll throw on a Team Rocket's Watchtower, which doesn't really do anything right now. And here's the Lillies, shuffling back their hand to draw 6. That's actually really good news for us, because if they use Lillies, they can't use Crispin, which means, guess what? That Dragapult is not going to be attacking us this turn. They'll Special Red Card to destroy our hand, but honestly, I mean, first off, we draw Lillie, so who cares? But also, we're kind of already set up on our board anyway. Our opponent Poké Pad's here, this time getting a Dusclops, really just for deck thinning, but I suppose I understand it. And now they'll just go for their recons. Now they'll go for an Ultra Ball, pitching the Monkey Dory and the other Ultra Ball. They get a Fezandipiti here, that's more very helpful card draw for them. Flip the script, we'll draw 3, and now they'll just Itchy Pollen to end their turn. Unsurprising, they can't really use Dragapult anyways, but this is a really good spot for us to be in. We'll draw into Drakloak, that's also just crazy. We'll go for the Lillies next. Off of the 6, we see yet another Drakloak. Again, that's really good for us. We can also evolve our Cyndaquil into Quilava, and now we just have the double recon as well. So from here, I feel very confident that we have the game on lock, because, I mean, realistically, what's our opponent going to do about it from here? Not much else to really say. We'll just Buddy Blast, hit the Badoo for 560 damage, and see if our opponent can possibly mount a comeback over this next turn. Also, another Typhlosion off the prizes is insane, by the way. Our opponent promotes their Drakloak and starts their turn. They'll start with the Flip the Script here, get another 3 cards. Recon Directive will get them 2 more. They're effectively looking at 4. I mean, this deck is just crazy, right? But we've managed to pull far enough ahead that I really don't think any of this is even enough. They'll put a Psychic Energy onto the active Drakloak, and they'll evolve into Dragapult. They'll bench another Duskull, even though it literally doesn't do anything for them at this point. They'll Poké Pad next. They'll get Moltres. I assume, again, they're just deck thinning at this point. They can also Night Stretcher next to get back Dusknoir. I really have no clue why they're doing all this. I mean, and finally our opponent goes for Judge now to shuffle our hand back into the deck and hopefully help them survive. Although with Night Stretcher plus Brave Bangle, I think we'll be okay. Oh, and there's Red Card. Okay, never mind. We'll draw 3, and those are still pretty good, although a bit worse. And now the Phantom Dive comes in, taking out our active Typhlosion. They spread some damage all around our board, but it's not the end of the world, right? We'll promote a Quilava and we'll start our turn. We'll draw, and there's a Boss's Orders, so now all we need is a Fire Energy, and we do just win the game. We'll start with a Recon Directive here. Between Ultra Ball and Rare Candy, we obviously prefer the Ultra Ball here. We'll play it now, discarding the Ultra Ball and the Rare Candy to get a hold of our Fezandipiti from the deck. We'll bench Fez, we'll Recon next, and between Kieran and Lana's Aid, I suppose I prefer the Lana's Aid. Finally, we'll flip the script here. All we need is an energy, and we do not get it. Okay. Well, we can evolve Quilava into Typhlosion at least. We can go for Lana's Aid next. We'll get back Typhlosion into Fire Energy. We'll attach to the active. We'll evolve our bench Quilava up. Finally, we'll just Buddy Blast for 280. We could play Gravity Mountain, but I mean, that really wouldn't do anything here. It's back to our opponent. Luckily, whiffing the KO isn't the end of the world, because we have Psyduck up, so they can't Dusknoir us, and they still need to take 3 prizes, so I think we're safe for at least 1 turn. They'll evolve their other Duskull into Dusclops. They'll go for a Recon next to get 1 more card. They'll evolve the bench Drakloak into Dragapult. And luckily for us, they're forced to retreat their active Dragapult into the benched one. That's really good news for us. They'll put a Fire Energy onto the Dragapult. They'll go for Boss's Orders next to bring in the Psyduck. They can Jet Headbutt to take that knockout. That does mean that if they live this turn, they can Dusknoir and they can just win the game. But that won't be happening, because we'll draw for turn, and we will simply throw it on the Boss's Orders that's already in our hand. We'll bring in that Dragapult. We'll swing for Buddy Blast, and our opponent concedes before we can even do it. Okay, well, we'll take a win. And we're back. The deck feels really good to play. Like, I'm not surprised at all this deck was able to perform so well, and I would not be surprised if it does even better in the future, because this is like a lot better than I thought it would be. Your biggest weakness is of course consistency. Even with the Quilavas and the Ethan's Adventures, you still need to get a hold of your Brave Bangles and your Gravity Mounts and so on. And Drakloak is a good draw engine, but I mean, you do kind of need to assemble these like multi-card combos just to take these big knockouts. If you get them, it's really great. If you don't, it's a little bit more rough. I know this deck isn't necessarily meta, but it feels really good into a lot of different things. I guess the main weakness might just be bad opening hands in general, but like, I don't know. Like, keep an eye on this deck, because if Hop's Trevenant can win a big event, I think this can too. Anyway, thanks for watching, like, comment, subscribe, bye bye. Thank you.